So the federal government introduced new legislation for a buyback program on banned guns. This proposed legislation, it's called Bill C-21. It also allows for individual Canadian cities to enact their own handgun bans, something that Vancouver Mayor Kennedy Stewart has indicated he will take up with council. So for more on that, Mayor Stewart is with us on the line right now. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, Gloria. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So if Bill C-21 passes, just what kind of power does that give municipalities?
Yeah, well, first I'll say I think most in Vancouver would agree that handguns have no place in cities. We see rising gun crime with gang violence that we've seen across the Lower Mainland, and I think this is a good move by the federal government, and they promised it through the election, and this is something we can do. My understanding, and I've just looked through the first reading of the bill today, is that it'll allow us to basically say you cannot store a handgun in Vancouver, which you can do now, and that would effectively lead to a ban of these types of weapons.
But how do you feel about the federal government, giving the power to municipalities as opposed to making it a blanket ban? I mean, Vancouver could say, yes, we'll ban it here, but maybe Burnaby says no, or maybe Surrey says yes, or, that type of thing.
Sure. I mean, I think that, perhaps a national ban would ultimately be better, but that's not what's on offer. What's on offer is the ability to do a local ban. I noted from the news that Doug McCallum from Surrey is also supportive of that. So there's your two biggest municipalities in British Columbia. And so I think if we can move it forward, that will help. And if we can get, one gun off the streets, it's worth it. I mean, it can't hurt. And I think that's why that's a good rule in terms of how you move forward with policy.
Okay, and if it is to move forward, if a handgun ban is enacted through bylaws, I guess, in Vancouver, yeah, how would it be enforced?
Well, I mean, these are all the things that we're going to hear through the parliamentary debate. Will there be extra resources given to the municipalities to do put this in place? How does it work with local law enforcement? And remember, it's just been introduced today, so it goes through 3 readings in the House of Commons and then through the Senate where there may be adjustments. There'll be lots of committee work where they'll discuss these various questions, so we'll keep an eye on that. But on Tuesday, I'll be bringing, next Tuesday's council meeting, I'll be bringing forward notice of motion to get staff working on this and to keep an eye on it and draft the bylaws so they're ready as soon as this is passed.
And is it your hope that there are extra resources attached for municipalities to go ahead with it?
Yeah, always. I mean, I think that, this seems to be a priority of the federal government, which I applaud, and I would think that if we need to do extra training, we need bylaw enforcement officers, it's especially for early adapters that are going to feed back into the process about what's working and what isn't. It would be nice if there was extra funds to come with it, and that often is attached to these kind of federal programs. Well,
and how would you see a ban like this, if it were implemented through the city? How would that help to curb gun-related crimes, do you think?
Yeah, I think, again, it would, there are from my understanding, there are other measures in the bill that would cut down illegal gun trafficking and taking assault weapons off the street, which we're seeing with alarming increase. I mean, I'm also the chair of the Vancouver Police Board, so we do see reports of this. And so any measure that would give extra help to take these guns, basically you wouldn't be allowed to have a handgun in the city of Vancouver, makes it, I think, easier to identify and eliminate those things from the city, which is exactly what we need to do here.
Well, there are a lot of people doing things they shouldn't be doing right now. And I mean, critics of this bill, Bill C-21, say the legislation doesn't solve issues like gun smuggling or gang activity, and that more investment should be going towards law enforcement to stop them, keep the guns out of criminal hands. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's not an either or. It's like, let's do everything we can. It may surprise you, Gloria, that I actually have a gun license, both restricted and non-restricted. My grandfather was a gunsmith. I grew up with guns my whole life, and I've shot handguns, and I know they're not good for anything except killing other people. So, I mean, I don't own weapons, but my family does, and they don't belong in cities. They're extremely, extremely dangerous, and they have very limited purpose. So, people get a kick out of owning a handgun and shooting it in a gun range, they should just go and keep it locked in the gun range. They don't need it in their house in the middle of the city.
Okay, well, this, the details for this bill are still being finalized. You already talked about extra resources. Anything else you'd like to see added to a bill like this regarding a city's ability to enact gun control?
Yeah, I think some of this will come through the debate in the House, and especially I think when it gets to the Senate. The House of Commons is kind of in a minority position, but I think the Senate will have a good long look at this. And if I've given the opportunity, I would, speak for other municipalities with other big city mayors to say, look, if you want this to be a success, you need to support us because we're already strapped with all the COVID responses. Our bylaw officers, for example, are, trying to keep the social gatherings down, those kind of things. So any kind of help to make this a success would be, what I'd be advocating for as we move ahead with our own bylaws. Okay,
and as you move ahead, if this bill is passed into law and cities will eventually be allowed to implement their own handgun bans, what about timeline? And I know this is still in the works, but just, speculate with me. How quickly do you think Vancouver City Council could move to enact a ban?
Well, I think pretty quickly because we do ban other things from the city. For example, we had a fireworks ban we just passed in one evening. So I think that once the parameters are made clear in the bill, and we can work on this in parallel with the city, that I think it could be done this year. I don't see why not unless there's some kind of hang-up in Parliament.
All right. We will be watching for any potential hang-ups in Parliament. Mayor Stewart, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.